to Ebony Ladies in the DR. We are so excited to have you back. Thank you for tuning in every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Today we have another amazing conversation, but before we begin, let me introduce you to my co-hosts.
Bridget from Houston.
Sheila from Silver Spring, Maryland.
Shan from Atlanta.
And I am Tammy from South Carolina. Today we're going to be talking about culture shock. Culture shock, ladies, here in the Dominican Republic. So just so for our audience, the definition of culture shock is the feeling of disorientation experienced by someone who is suddenly subject to an unfamiliar culture, way of life, or set of attitudes. So we're going to talk about each of our biggest moments that we've experienced when it comes to culture shock. And I know one of mine, just to start the conversation off, ladies, was seeing people who look exactly like me, my skin tone, everything. Like, we could have grown up together, in the same family, went to the same high school, and I'm trying to talk to them and they can't understand what I'm saying because they don't speak English. Like, it really was like a culture shock of like, oh, wow, like they don't speak English. So what about you, Shan? What was your biggest culture shock moment?
Well, first of all, I have to agree with you on what you said. That was so true. Just seeing all these brown and black people that look like me but don't speak the same language as me. And I think this kind of piggybacks off of what you just said. Can you imagine being in a group of friends or just being in a group or at a place of business and everything around you is Spanish?
Yeah.
Not your first language.
Ooh. Yeah.
So whether it's hanging out at the beach or going to pay a bill, all you're hearing is this Spanish. And so, just your traditional, typical daily task, it makes it that much harder just because it's a different language. So that was the biggest thing, just trying to go through my daily day. And then all this other language, this unfamiliar language. And, it takes some time to get used to that. Yeah. But yeah, just that fact that, I'm the oddball here. I'm the odd woman out.
You're the foreigner.
I'm the foreigner.
You're the foreigner.
For once, I'm so used to being in my little comfortable bubble and in my little group of friends, and we can laugh and have a good time, go out, understand the people at the movie theater, understand the people at the bank, understand the people at the mall. Here, it's like everything is foreign. And I mean, that makes you feel so weird. It's such a weird feeling. Yeah, and actually, we all go through this period of culture shock where you really just wonder, what am I doing here? Yeah.
Because it's totally different when you're going someplace on vacation. And you're gone for a couple of days. But once you've been in a place where English is not the first language and you hear Spanish, all that, which is nothing wrong with that because I love hearing Spanish every day because the more I hear it, the more I interact. But it does. I remember I said to Bridget and Davlin I was having these headaches, and it was because I think I was on Spanish overload.
Spanish overload.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. Like, I actually spoke
true.
to a Dominican girl who had moved to the U.S. before I got here, and so I went to her and asked for advice and all this kind of stuff, and she said the first 6 months I was in the U.S., she said I just had migraines and I didn't know why. She was like, it was because you can't understand, your brain can't understand the language.
It's mental. It's a mental drain. It's exhausting.
It's like, oh my gosh.
Exhausting. And I think the biggest thing for me, it might sound really crazy, with culture shock was going to pay my bills and they wouldn't let you pay the bill. Because they don't let you pay bills early.
At all. Like, you don't want the money?
So I'm like, wait a minute. I want to pay my bill. She was like, it's not due. I was like, well, so I want to go ahead and pay on my bill. It's like every other month, it's like $40, it's like $30. So I want to pay $50 on it. So then system just credits it. That's I'm thinking American thing, but they're like, no, you just cannot pay your bill. Okay, so we talked about I don't have a car, so that was a trip on my bike, and I don't even think I had my bike yet. Nope, I don't have my bike yet when I had to go pay my first one of my first bills. And so I had to walk, and where we live, it was like almost 2 miles to get there, to be turned around and say no. And it was 2 days. early. And the bill was already generated. It was already in the system, but it wasn't due yet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what kind of culture doesn't want the money? What if something happened to me?
Right.
That's money y'all could have already have gotten.
Right.
You know?
So how I was explained about that, I don't know if they gave you an explanation.
No, they did not. If they did, I didn't understand.
But maybe, and to this day, maybe I don't understand. But what I believe I was told was that their system can't actually doesn't know how to process that, right?
That is crazy.
Which is great. And again,
that's a cultural thing. Yeah,
it's crazy because in the States we're also used to paying automatically, maybe send up automatic payments. So that was weird for me too, just having to go in person first of all to make a payment for a bill.
Right.
Yeah.
That was
So let me ask you, ladies, because this was another culture shock moment for me. How did you feel the first time you saw an entire family on a bike? When we say bikes, we mean like motorbikes, okay? Like I'm talking dad, mom, like 4-year-old, and then baby in the front, you know, like on one bike.
I fussed the whole night because we had went to Santo Domingo, and on the way back at one of the tolls they were doing like, you know, these checkpoints to see if you have a fire extinguisher or a first aid kit. Yeah, it's a whole different thing. See if you have these things in your car. And, you know, we're like, no, it's a rental car. So that day, you know, we didn't get a ticket or anything because it was a rental car. But I'm thinking to myself all day when I get home, they pull me over and they're talking about a fire extinguisher or a first aid kit, and we literally just passed a dad here holding a baby, like the baby's like leaning on the tank, a little girl like a 4 or 5-year-old behind him, a 7-year-old behind that baby, and then the mom, and they're all together
on one motorcycle.
On one motorcycle. And I'm not talking a Harley Davidson big boy, fat boy motorcycle. I'm talking a little Honda scooter, you know, and the whole family's on there. And I was like, this doesn't make sense to me. How do they feel like this is legal, this is right, this is safe?
Right.
You know, how do they justify pulling me over for a first aid kit or even check when they allow, you know, little kids?
Yeah.
And that is a cultural thing because that's not something that would fly, you know, in the United States, and it shouldn't fly here.
Yeah.
No helmet. No helmet.
But they do have to actually have a helmet law here, but it's not enforced until I think they may want to bring a little more money into the economy.
Right.
Say it's a corrupt system.
Yeah.
But you know, that it's just like random stops, and then people have to put on a helmet.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. Yeah, it's definitely cultural.
My heart skips a beat every time I see somebody on a motorcycle with a little kid.
Yeah.
And I think it's ingenuous and creative all at the same time because you do what you got to do to get where you need to be. But even after next month, it'll be a year for me. My heart still skips a beat especially, and then when I see an infant.
On a bike.
When I see an infant, I lose my breath.
Yeah.
Because I think of all the things that could happen.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen like so we just talked about the families of 5 on one motorcycle, but have y'all actually seen like the young kids driving these motorcycles? Like I've seen like they look like they were 8 riding a big old motorcycle. That freaks me out. I haven't seen
you haven't seen that? What is the age limit? You know,
that's what I'm wondering.
But they say, you know, their culture here is as soon as they learn how to drive, it helps the family.
It helps the family.
It helps the family out because then he can go and pick up fares and you know, make money. And so
take brothers and sisters
I don't know what
to school.
the age limit is if it's enforced to get a driver's license.
I had an ex-boyfriend here. He told me that he started driving when he was 12, a motorcycle.
So
when he was 12.
Yeah. So that's something interesting we have to find out.
Yeah. Somebody did tell me that they do have laws and regulations against certain things. However, it's not enforced. How many times do you see police on the street?
Right.
Every now and then.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless they, like you say, it seems like they're trying to stimulate the economy, and they're just, because I got a ticket for not having insurance in a rental car. Like I couldn't find the insurance documents, you know? And I had the same feeling that you had of, there are people driving around with babies on bikes, and I can't find the insurance documents in this rental car that I don't own, and you're going to give me a ticket? But again,
Yeah.
I think
this is a cultural thing.
Cultural. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And something else that was a culture shock to me, when we got here, we had to get a new refrigerator. So we went to the appliance stores to get the refrigerator.
I know what you're gonna
The only
say.
thing we saw were these small refrigerators. Because, we used to big double doors or either big top, big bottom. So we had a small refrigerator. So I was like, where's the big gallon of milk? And then I thought, it won't fit into my little refrigerator. So that's why they sell these little cartons of milk. And I'm like, I can go in this milk in like a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 2 or 3 days. So it was like that, the slim down of all the appliances.
Yeah.
Like we don't have an oven.
That's so funny.
So that was a
wow.
culture shock
Yeah.
for me.
Wow.
We used the air fryer just because we, started to cook healthier before we ever left the United States. But we actually bought our house and we got home and, we were going through the pictures because we were trying to figure out, which things we were going to buy, what appliances. And I said, look at this picture. Look at the kitchen. We don't have an oven.
Oh my God.
And that's how we realized that we didn't have an oven because in the United States every house has an oven.
A dishwasher.
In the Dominican Republic,
Yeah.
it's like a culture thing. You don't have ovens because people cook outside because the ovens generate too much heat, too much electricity. So, and I was like, oh my God, what are we doing?
Wow. Well, I have an oven in my house.
You have an oven.
Yeah,
See, because your apartments are newer.
Yeah,
Our home
that's
is
true.
old.
I have an oven.
Yeah, yours is
But he renovated.
He renovated the
kitchen, and I
and
asked
put in.
for a gas stove. But I had just a cooktop at first too.
Yeah.
We had an oven in ours, but it was old. And I don't cook that much, but the first thing I bought was a stove with an oven. That was the first appliance I bought for my apartment. Yeah.
Yep,
So,
we use the air fryer. And
that's
then,
my American.
with that being said, with having a smaller refrigerator, you can go to the store here, which is so funny. Go to the Kamado, and I asked them for rice, because I wanted to make something really quick without going to the grocery store. And she said, how many scoops? And I'm like, huh? I want a bag of rice. No.
wow.
How many, so you can literally go to like our little stores, the Kamados, and
little mini market.
Little mini market.
Yes.
And you can get a scoop of rice. You can buy 1 egg. You can buy a scoop of beans.
Sugar.
You can buy 2 pieces of bread. So you just get what you need because it's a little refrigerator.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love the Kamado.
And it threw me. I was like, what the
I'm gonna
heck
check
is
that
going
out.
on?
Yeah, they're everywhere, but you
Yeah.
just have to find the closest one to you.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And build a relationship because the prices will change on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So you have to build a relationship with your local Kamado and get your beans and your rice and all that you want for that meal for a little bit of nothing.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I was again on Shan's investment tour last weekend, and we were in some of the we live in a very, very touristy area over here.
Yeah,
So
Punta Cana is very touristy. It is
very touristy.
tour town.
You can find people who speak English, things like that. But we went to some of the more this is the Dominican Republic, and we stopped at a store, I think it was a Kamado, and I bought a bottle of water, and the guy, and he could tell that I spoke English, and he did like this, and I'm like, 500 pesos, that's $10.
That's $10.
Yeah, 500 pesos is $10. And I was like, for this bottle of water, he's going crazy. I was like, so I was about to walk away, and then I said, you know what? So I just gave him a $200 bill, which a 200 peso bill,
Right.
and he gave me my change back, and I'm like, he meant 5 pesos, which means this bottle of water costs 10 cents. Remember, I got back in the car and I was in shock. I was like, this bottle of water costs 10 cents?
Yeah, 5 pesos.
Yeah, because here where we live,
we
it's
can't
about
drink the water, and so
yeah, but in America, you're gonna pay $1.89 if you go to the store and get a bottle of water. I'm like, 10 cents. So I felt cheated by America. We now know how much a bottle of water is supposed to cost.
Yeah.
That's how much water.
Yeah, because I will say that is one thing that they give plentiful here is bottled water. You can find that relatively cheap here. So yeah, that was a cool experience for her because she was really excited. She was like,
I'm like, I should have bought 2 or 3.
Yeah, you could have bought everybody.
You could have bought
all of us water. You could have got everybody some water.
Speaking of bottled water, I do have one. It's I don't know if it's actually a cultural shock, but it's cultural for me because I was known as the recycle Nazi. It has taken me almost a year to stop separating my plastic and glass. I still put it I don't put it in my trash bag. I put it next to it, and then I put it in the bag, and I'm thinking, oh, it's just going out. Which is so sad, because if you think about all the bottled water that people here drink and that we need to use because we can't use faucet water, and all the tourists that come here that drink bottled water, it's recycling could be a huge
maybe that's something
huge
that
environmental
Ebony
thing
Ladies
here.
in the DI
business,
some initiative or something with that would be
it really bothers me almost as much as seeing
babies
the
on bikes.
And it's just a habit, I guess, because I've been doing it for so many years that I have to catch myself. But it's really sad, especially when they talk about the oceans.
One thing that you reminded me of when you were talking about the refrigerators in the store, going and looking at refrigerators. So I know one thing here that was just really shocking was they don't do a lot of returns here.
Oh no!
Oh yeah,
that's yours.
The funny thing is, when you buy an appliance here, they take it out the box. They try it, and if it works, they put it back, and it's yours when you buy it.
You don't get to return it.
So
the people that love Costco would not make it in the Dominican Republic.
That kills me here. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you're taking they took the fan out the box. They had to put it together, plug it in, show me it worked, and then it was like, okay, you can have it.
Right.
So you can't return it.
Can I add something to that? Food. I'm used to going to a restaurant, and if you take 1 or 2 bites of your food and you're like, nah, you can send it back. Not here. Not here. They're like, that's yours now.
I haven't had it, but we've sent stuff back.
Really?
Balikana, we sent stuff back. Bruja, we sent stuff back. Yeah, I haven't had that experience.
Because here in Punta Cana, it's a little bit more touristy. But when I go, because it happened in Santo Domingo when we were there, and I was like, I don't like, because no, I remember what happened. We bought 2. So I bought 1 meal, and then we had 1 that we were going to save for later. And we started eating, and we're like, this is disgusting. And this one was untouched, nothing. And so we said, hey, can we get our money back? And they said, no, that's yours now.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen it, but there have been places that will take it back. But I know,
But clothes, shoes, I bought them some shoes. They were too big. They were like, no, they're his.
They're yours.
Give them away. So it's not
they're like
friendly.
Sorry, not sorry.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just something.
Go ahead.
The other culture shock, all the wild animals on the road.
Oh yeah.
Dogs, cats.
What? You don't like the roosters?
Oh no, I didn't like it. I just thought it was like, whoa. I love a good rooster. I love a good rooster. But it's just so interesting seeing these wild dogs just walking all over the road and no owner, because everybody, the leash laws and everything going on in the States right now is such a big deal.
It is shocking to see animals that don't have a leash or somebody with, because you think, normally in America, when I see a dog, I'm afraid.
Right.
But here, these dogs don't mess with you. They just walk right on past you. They're just easing about their day.
Yeah.
You're like,
I'm not.
Wow.
Lay across the middle of the sidewalk. And look, and dare you not to step over them. You better step over or step around, because they're not
gonna move.
No, I love them. I love them.
Yeah, because we have the pet population is more controlled in the States.
In the
States,
working
on it, anyway. But
the random goats, cows, I love it. I love it.
Because there's a rooster somewhere around our house. We can hear it. But he only crows at night.
Okay.
And I was like, what kind of rooster? The dog was like Dominican roosters.
Y'all need to give him a name.
Get up. They sleep during the day. I know.
Give him Ronnie the rooster.
Ronaldo.
Beautiful thing, though.
Anyway,
when you see it though, it's a beautiful thing, because you realize that's how we're supposed to live. Like, we're not supposed to be afraid of animals, and animals aren't supposed to be afraid of us.
Right.
That we're supposed to just be in nature together, So
everybody.
It's cool, and I love them, and I'm such an animal and dog lover that I want to just
everybody. I want to
take them all, but
they
like being wild, honestly. And then I see some people leave the food for them, and some so it's interesting.
And I think a huge cultural shock for me was not having a library. There's no library in Punta Cana.
There's no library.
There's no library. So I'm just like, I don't understand. So what do y'all do? You know,
Play dominoes.
Play
Play dominoes and drink.
They
Not,
play dominoes.
don't get me wrong, that's
fun.
fun.
They're not educated, reading. You know, but no, they don't. They go to Santo Domingo. Everybody that I've met that I'm close to, Dominican, they said they go to Santo Domingo and they buy books.
Which is
they
2 hours away, by the way.
Right, 2 hours away. And they go and they just buy books and rotate books between their friends.
Yeah.
But
That's so funny you say that.
here.
Because Davey has a ton of books.
And where he get his books
I
from?
don't know. I have to ask him that.
Out.
He has all, and he has like the good books, like Rich Dad Poor Dad. He's got like Think and Grow Rich. He's got those good. So I gotta ask him to get these books from.
They have, and there's one bookstore here, and I think it was a Canadian lady that opened the bookstore to take advantage of it not being a library here. But that was a huge culture shock because I go to the library at home in Houston. I had like my library card. I go to the library, got my library bag, my favorite bag for the library. And I go check out 2-3 books a week and I read them and I go and I do this. And so that was like, I couldn't wait to get here because I said, when I go to the library, when I get to the Dominican, I'm going to give me a Spanish book and then I'm going to go to the English section. I was like drilling him. I wonder how big you think the English section is going to be because at my library at home, the Spanish section was like 2 rows.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're gonna have 2 rows of the books. And, and so I was so excited. Yeah. And I was Googling and I was asking. They were like, "Yeah, we don't have a library."
I think too, though, part of it too is because Punta Cana is this created place for tourists. And so I think a lot of the things that you would normally have in a normal neighborhood or city, they don't necessarily have. Like I'll say my final culture shock moment for me didn't really happen here in Punta Cana because again it's very touristy, things like that. But whenever I go with my boyfriend to his family, which is in Barahona, which is about 5 hours away, so that is the real Dominican Republic. Okay, like nobody speaks English, so I literally just have to sit there and just rely on him to translate everything. But oh my gosh, the gas station club, as I call it. Club gas station.
That's
where
here too.
You're driving and you'll see a gas station and it is packed. Like people, motorcycles.
Oh, that's the thing to do.
I love that.
Like somebody to put out a speaker. It's like like a club at the gas station. Like the gas station is like the hangout spot for everybody. And gas stations have tables and chairs in it. Like it's almost like a restaurant. Like
they convert it to like a bar.
To a bar, it's crazy.
The car washes do that too. It's funny. They'll do it. The car washes too.
I went to a car wash party.
Yes.
Well, I won't say a party, but where they were having
hanging out.
And it's so much fun. I love it actually.
I do too.
I love it.
Everybody's just so free.
And
chilling, working good. But let's just talk about everything.
And I'm just like, if this happened in the U.S., the cops would shut it down.
Shut it down.
Nope, y'all got to go.
Y'all got to go.
Get out of here.
Like this is a privately owned property. Gotta go.
But here it's like
like
everybody just goes with the flow. It's so great. So do you ladies have any more before we
I have
leave?
one thing.
Okay.
This it's 2 things. So people gardening with machetes. And then security guards walking around with
the
what?
gun.
That's
good. Okay, we got to talk about that.
Hold on.
Talk about the machete.
The machete. Wait, explain what a machete is.
A machete is a long knife,
like a big
knife, and it's very sharp. And they use it to. I've seen for everything to chop off the leaves from the palm trees, to get the coconuts, to cut the bushes,
everything, to do the lawn,
dig something out. They use it for it's a multi-purpose tool.
We have one too.
And so seeing them just walking down the street, because the first time, I saw it on the resorts, because the first few years I came was on the resort. So I saw I see it on the resort. But to see a man walking down the front of my house with a machete, it just, the first time I started, my heart was beating fast. I was like, what? And then I'm walking past him, I'm thinking, okay, how do I know that they won't flick off like some folks do in the United States. You just
right, they ain't all right in the head. And who says you can carry that?
Yeah, so that's
well, I often wonder that with the people holding these guns, like these security guards. How is their mental health? Because you can't give a gun to everybody and expect them to do the honorable thing with it.
But I think that people here don't suffer from mental health issues like they do in the US.
I agree. Stress,
I agree.
Yeah, it's such a
the pressure.
Yeah, the first time I was at a gas station and my aunt had actually come to the DR with me on one of my trips, and the guy had one of those big machetes, and he came over to help us because we had a flat tire, and we were like trying to run away, like look at this guy coming with this big gun, and then somebody else saw, and he saw what was happening, and he said, he knew that we were American. He said, calm down. He's like, it's okay. He's like, they always walk around with those. They're not, because in America, if you saw somebody with a gun like that, they're about to rob a bank.
About to go
like,
down.
Well, you wouldn't see it for one.
Well, you would never see it.
And if you did, you know something was about to go. Yeah.
And they are dressed in, anybody you see with the gun, they are dressed in security type uniforms.
Right.
But it's still a little,
scary.
it takes you aback.
It's so different
you don't
from
see
what
that, you don't see that in the States. And when you see police officers, their guns are holstered. You don't see them walking down the street.
As opposed to the machetes, anybody can carry a machete. Anybody and everybody.
I know how to use my machete.
Wait a minute.
You got
went to the hardware store and Bridget got her machete. She asked the guy for a machete. And he said to her, machete, like she was speaking in another language. I mean, it's machete here, it's machete everywhere. It's so then when we finally convinced him, that's what she wanted. He just bust out laughing.
I took one picture with one when I first came here. My mom hates that picture.
I bet.
This is her American mindset was like, Shanna, that's because it was like years ago. Well, she felt it was when all that time when they were taking American tourists and holding them hostages and
they were
beheading them. She it hit too close to home. She did not like seeing me with that machete. She was like, take that picture down. So it is a cultural.
It's a culture thing. Because they use that machete, and I know how to use my machete.
Wow.
Now.
Well, ladies, listen.
This
was a great discussion. We can talk about this all day. We do have to go. So we just want to say thank you guys so much for tuning into our conversation. We are the Ebony Ladies in the DR. We are here every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. on YouTube. Please come back, join us again, and remember, everybody can have a machete.
You can have a machete